Where you really felt like you found your role in this team? Because it felt like the first 2 years you were trying to figure out exactly your place in the W.
Everybody does a little bit, and I think it's having that support system to...
The WNBA is buzzing right now, and it's all because Lexie Hull revealed some surprising details about Caitlyn Clark in the Indiana Fever locker room. Caitlyn Clark has always been known for staying calm under pressure. No matter what happens on the court, whether she's pushed, tripped, or distracted, she keeps her focus and carries on like nothing happened. But now, Lexie Hull's comments have everyone talking.
Where you really felt like you found your role in this team? Because it felt like the first 2 years you were trying to figure out exactly your place in the W.
Things are so up in the air that it's hard to know exactly where you fit.
Lexie isn't staying quiet anymore. She's outspoken, determined, and tired of seeing her best friend and teammates treated unfairly. Now, she's speaking up, sharing every story of mistreatment, every moment of disrespect, and all the behavior that had been kept behind closed doors until now.
I mean, I've read some of my DMs that are hidden, and I refuse to read a lot of them because I know people are upset. And so you kind of forget that there's these people behind the scenes until they come out of the woodwork and say I've been following along this whole time.
Everyone knows the Indiana Fever's season started off rough. Just 1 win and 8 tough losses. For any team, that's bad. But for the Fever, who came in with high expectations, it felt like a crisis. The pressure was heavy, and doubts were everywhere. The locker room was tense, and people couldn't understand how such a promising team fell apart so quickly. Fans and players kept asking the same thing. Could they recover? Lexie Hull, now a key part of the turnaround, didn't hold back when talking about those early days. She said the locker room was in pieces, players were drained both physically and mentally, and stress was everywhere. Still, deep down, they believed they were better than their record showed. It wasn't wishful thinking. It was a real conviction hidden under all the frustration.
This season, all of our shots, threes going up, fans are out of their seats and expecting it to go in. So that just feels so good to feel the confidence from them.
When Hull shared what was really happening behind closed doors, everything started to make sense. The team was in emotional turmoil. Each loss felt crushing, and players began questioning everything: their place in the league, their game plans, even their roles on the court. The stress was overwhelming, and some were close to giving up. But here's the surprising part. The Fever never turned against each other. Even when frustration was at its peak, they chose to stick together instead of letting it tear them apart.
Following in the spotlight is great, and it's a huge deal for the WNBA and women's sports, but at the end of the day, our job is to perform. We've seen just such a growth year after year, so it's been so fun. The fans in Indiana have been amazing, so just excited to...
The players made a tough but powerful decision. They chose to trust one another and refuse to blame each other. That determination and unity laid the foundation for the comeback no one expected. It showed how much they could overcome when they stood together. Then everything changed when Caitlyn Clark entered the WNBA draft. Fans who had watched her dominate in college went into a frenzy when the Fever secured the #1 pick. Overnight, the team went from being barely noticed to the center of attention. Social media exploded, Twitter filled with posts, Instagram with fan art, and preseason ticket sales that had once been disappointing suddenly soared. By the time Clark officially joined the Fever, the buzz felt like the excitement of a major movie premiere. On April 10th, 2023, Gainbridge Fieldhouse was packed with thousands of fans cheering as her name appeared on the draft screen. The energy was electric, and for the Fever, it marked the start of something completely new.
Realize that the start of the season isn't the biggest deal. It's how we finish and how we get better, and really proud of just the resiliency of the group. Yeah, I think she sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game.
But let's be clear, Caitlyn Clark's influence went far beyond her long-range shots and standout skills. Yes, she was already a highlight machine, but the real difference was the energy she brought into the locker room. Lexie Hull recalled the moment Clark joined her first practice. It felt like the whole team suddenly came alive. It wasn't just her talent. It was her personality. Clark's humor had everyone laughing within minutes, lightening the mood without even trying. She made a group of stressed athletes feel at ease, almost like they were hanging out with friends instead of bracing for intense drills. At the same time, Clark's drive to win was unmatched. Her competitiveness quickly spread to the rest of the team. Hull described how players who had been drained or discouraged suddenly felt energized and ready to fight harder, all because Clark's determination was impossible to ignore.
Definitely going to say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive.
Practice no longer felt like a burden. It became a challenge everyone was eager to take on, and Clark made sure the team was ready. Her presence wasn't just about big plays. She pushed the Fever to reach a level they didn't even know they had. Then came a moment that showed Clark was more than just a talented player. During one tough practice, Coach Sides turned up the speakers to simulate loud crowd noise. The volume was overwhelming, but Clark didn't hesitate. She called out, "Can someone turn this off? It's giving me a headache." The room froze.
No one usually spoke to the coach like that.
When she repeated it, the entire team burst into laughter. Just like that, the tension disappeared. It was unexpected, unforgettable, and instantly became one of the stories that players still laugh about in Fever history.
Talked about a lot is it feels like she really imbues everybody with confidence as well. Like she just sort of has this way of thinking big about things. Oh, look, you've been on the Fever for 3 years now, but this year, you go from a rebuilding team to now you guys are selling out arenas. You're a fan favorite.
Now, let's talk about Lexie Hull's journey with the Indiana Fever, a story that's hard to overlook. When she first entered the WNBA, things didn't go smoothly. For her first 2 seasons, she spent most of her time on the bench, averaging just over 12 minutes per game with a shooting percentage of around 30%. For a player who had been a star at Stanford, winning back-to-back NCAA titles in 2021 and 2022, the adjustment to the pros was tough. It was a period full of challenges and frustrations, but then something changed. Out of nowhere, Hull's game started to click. She later described the experience as feeling like a dream she never wanted to wake up from.
The number 1 pick, and once Caitlyn declared, that kind of changed things, I think, for the city a little bit. People were just so excited to come support the Fever. We felt that. Yeah, I mean, I think like part of my role is just getting to the open spots, and we have such a good offense that people find the open person.
It wasn't just about new strategies, it was about real belief. When someone like Caitlyn Clark, a proven star, trusts you to step up, you start playing with a different kind of confidence. Suddenly, Hull was sinking shots and carrying herself with the energy of a player who belonged. Fans who barely knew her name before were now cheering for her, and teammates were amazed by her growth. Clark's competitive fire also played a huge role. Hull would even joke that Clark hated losing, no matter if it was a scrimmage or a drill. Practices that once felt routine quickly turned into battles. Clark pushed herself and everyone around her, and that intensity spread through the entire team. Players were diving for loose balls and fighting for rebounds like the season was on the line. Every practice became a test, and that drive started to show results when it mattered most, on game days.
The competitive aspect of it too. I think it's something you talked about in the past too, that she's just kind of raised the competitiveness level.
Guard on the other team, hitting open shots, being where I need to be, spreading the floor. Like those are things that I can bring to any team. So those are the things that I focus on.
This mix of competitiveness and humor made Clark a true game changer for the Fever's locker room. Lexie Hull often said that with Clark around, every practice felt like a championship game. The drills were tough, the scrimmages were intense, but there was also joy in the air. Clark made sure every moment mattered while keeping the team relaxed and having fun. That balance was key. It lifted the team's spirit and made the hard work feel worthwhile. Her influence spread like a ripple, reshaping the culture of the entire team. The biggest example of this impact was Hull's own transformation. Her resurgence wasn't just about training harder. It showed what happens when a player's confidence is unlocked. Clark's trust gave Hull the belief to play at her best, proving how powerful genuine support can be.